Mountains are among the most wonderful geographical structures that have come out of the earth. Mountains are big and seem intimidating, but human nature just doesn't want to settle in defeat. Hence, why there are 44.5 million mountain climbers worldwide who follow the hobby. But this hobby is nothing short of dangerous. One wrong move can lead to injuries or death. But that never stopped us, and we have successfully climbed the highest of mountains. But what if there were a mountain that had claimed the lives of many people and it was nicknamed the Killer Mountain? A mountain that has claimed the lives of over 70 people in just the year of 1930. This is Annapurna. Annapurna, named after the Hindu goddess of food and nourishment who is said to reside there, is situated in the Annapurna mountain range off the Gandaki province or north-central Nepal. The 10th highest mountain in the world is 26,545 feet, or 8,091 meters above sea level. The mountain is home to many of Nepal's highest lakes, including the Tilcho Lake, Kahayar Lake, and the Ice Lake. Annapurna only has 365 successful climbs and 72 deaths. In perspective, Mount Everest has 7,269 successful summits with 335 deaths. However, Mount Everest's death rate is 2%, while Annapurna's death rate is around 32%.
Climb another mountain, even a hard mountain, which was just repeating an experience.
Chris Bonington, leader of the Annapurna expedition. For Bonington, climbing a great mountain was no longer enough. He wanted to climb Annapurna by the most difficult route, the south face.
The footage you had just seen was related to the 1970 British Annapurna South Face expedition. This expedition was made with financial support from the Mount Everest Foundation. This expedition was made and led by Sir Chris Bonington. With him were Martin Boyson, Nick Estcourt, Ian Clough, Mike Thompson, Burke, Hatson, Clevin Kent, who is the base camp manager, David Lambert, a doctor, and a television team from ITN with Thames Television were to accompany him. He had also included Tom Frost because he was advised that including an American would boost sales that Bonington was planning to write in his book. Tom Frost had considerable big wall climbing experience in Yosemite, as well as Nanda Devi for a CIA mission to install a nuclear-powered listening device to listen and monitor Chinese missiles. When they left for departure, they took 18,000 feet of rope to fix it, as they did not use their climbing rope. 40 cylinders of oxygen and 6 breathing sets were also taken with the team. Their baggage was sent from London by sea, with Williams and Lambert flying to Bombay, or what is now known as Mumbai, to see the package be unloaded and transported to Pokhara by the lorry. However, the ship was delayed by 3 weeks, so Bonington arranged for Williams and Lambert to travel to Kathmandu to reconnoiter the approach route instead of waiting at Mumbai. They had taken the oxygen cylinders, intending to only be used as supplementary oxygen around 22,500 feet or 6,900 meters. However, this was only used a bit and not used above Camp 6, and was also only used as emergency for those who had become ill. Skipping most of the expedition, on May 27, 1970, had reached the summit of Annapurna, which was 26,545 feet, or 8,091 meters, which is the highest peak in the Annapurna Massif. Chris Bonington had led the team to a glacier from the Annapurna Sanctuary and then used rock climbing techniques to put the fixed rope in the steep south face of the mountain. Although they had planned to use their supplementary oxygen in the event, it was not possible to carry any of their cylinders high enough to use on their summit bid. Lower down the mountain, the date was May 30. As the expedition was about to leave, a falling serac fell and killed Ian Clow, claiming its first victim. The expedition was a success in itself and reached international fame for its dangerous route and difficulty. It was Britain's most important achievement since the 1953 British Mount Everest expedition. For the first time in Britain, people from home with a television could watch it. While most of the team had lived long and prosperous lives, with Boddington leading many more expeditions, Ian Clow had a memorial set up at base camp in his honor. May he rest in peace. Our next climb we'll be talking about took place on December 25th, 1997, by Kazakhstani climber Anatoly Bulgarev. Anatoly was a Kazakh mountaineer who ascended 10 of the 14 8,000 peaks. Bulgarev had a reputation as an elite mountaineer in the international climbing circle for summoning K2, another dangerous mountain, for claiming the lives of many, and Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world. He became even more famous for saving the lives of climbers in the 1996 Mount Everest disaster. He had also earned the USSR Order for Personal Courage, the USSR Order for Merit to the Fatherland, and the David A. Solis Memorial Award. So what happened with him in Annapurna? Well, 3 weeks after receiving the David A. Solis Memorial Award, Bulgarev had begun his attempt to climb the mountain. Bulgarev was accompanied by Simone Moro, an Italian mountaineer, and cinematographer Dmitry Soblev. On December 25th, around noon, Bulgarev and Moro were fixing ropes in a collier, which is just a word for a narrow gully with a steep gradient in a mountainous terrain. They were fixing the rope at around 18,700 feet, or 5,700 meters. Suddenly, an enormous cornice broke loose from the heights of Annapurna's western wall and rumbled down the 2,600 feet, or 800 meters, down the long couloir. The avalanche had knocked down Moro down the mountain, where he had landed just above their tent at camp, which was around 17,100 feet. Fortunately enough, Moro had somehow stayed near the top of the avalanche debris and had managed to dig himself out after a few minutes. Unable to see or hear any signs of Bulgarev or Dmitry, Moro had descended to Annapurna's base camp, where he was flown by a helicopter back to Kathmandu for surgery on his hands, which were ripped down to the tendons during the fall. News of the accident had reached New Mexico on December 26. Lindy Wiley, Bulgarev's girlfriend, left for Nepal on December 28. After that, several attempts were made to reach the avalanche site by helicopter, but the weather in late December had prevented search teams from reaching camp. On January 3, 1998, searchers were finally able to reach Camp 1, and an empty tent was left there. Linda Wiley subsequently issued a statement from Kathmandu.
"This is the end. There are no hopes of finding him alive."
9 months before this, Bulgarev had been saying something of dying in an avalanche in full detail. Bulgarev's death could have been avoided when his companion was telling him to take a different path in life. But Bulgarev responded with,
"Mountains are my life, my work. It was too late for me to take up another road."
At the site of Annapurna's base camp, there's a memorial in his honor with one of his favorite quotes.
"Mountains are not stadiums where I satisfy my ambition to achieve. They are the cathedrals where I practice my religion."
There's a summit near Altami named the Bulgarev Summit, named after him in his honor. Annapurna has claimed the lives of 72 people over the years, with the most recent being in April 2023 by British climber Noel Hanna. Annapurna still holds the biggest death percentage in the world. And to all those who have died of the mountain, rest in peace, as this is the Killer Mountain.